Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector, and we'll continue on with reviewing the new Adepta Sororitas units after the post-patch update. The next unit we're going to be talking about is the Retributors. These are pretty much our heavy support infantry for the sisters that are focused on ranged attacks. But first, if you're enjoying these videos, please give my channel a like and subscribe. Encourage me to post more content for you. So the Retributors here. They have multiple different weapon loadouts, and they're all pretty good. You just have to decide what niche in your army you need to get filled. Excuse me. So they have a base loadout here, and they cost 110 points. They have 50 health, 1 action point, 4 movement, 4 armor, and no evasion. The default loadout is the Heavy Bolter variant, and what this does is it has 10 attacks, it has a base damage of 4 to 6, it has an armor piercing of 3, and it has a range of 1 to 8 with an optimal range of 4, and a baseline accuracy of 80 at the optimal range, but it rapidly falls off at 15 per tile. Now, I think it would probably be easiest to just go through each one of these abilities for each weapon loadout, because the abilities do change. The thing that is consistent amongst all the loadouts, though, is the Bastion of Faith. And so, really, you should be thinking about this, using this ability after you've moved wherever you want to be, and use it just like you would with the Astra Militarum, if you're familiar with them, with the heavy weapons teams, because they have that setup ability. This is a similar ability, except for the Retributors here, and instead of increasing their ranged stability and accuracy, it's increasing their crit chance. So what it does is it converts all the units' remaining movement points into stacks of Bastion of Faith. Each stack of Bastion of Faith will provide you 5 critical hit chance, and it stacks up to 4 times, but you do lose 2 stacks each turn. So, you know, you have to take into consideration that you're not going to be carrying this over to the following turn unless you have more than 2 stacks at the end of the turn. Now, just like most of the infantry, they have the Shield of Faith, and that has since been reworked, so every time they get attacked by a weapon attack, it'll increase the armor, both ranged and melee, by 0.6, and it can stack up to 3 times, so that will increase your armor by 1.8, or getting them close to 6 armor when they have full stacks. But these guys can also use Divine Inspiration, and what this does is it converts each one of these stacks, and like I said, you can have up to 3 of them, and each stack can get converted into 10 momentum, so that can get you 30 additional momentum. And then with the Heavy Bolter variant, their special ability is the Storm of Retribution. And what this does is it'll convert the Bastion of Faith stacks into Storm of Retribution stacks. And so when you use this ability, you'll get 1 additional attack plus 2 range stability per 1 stack spent, which would be 1 stack of the Bastion of Faith. So let's say you have 4 of them, you know, you'll be getting all those kind of benefits here. But then, if you do have 4 stacks saved up, not only will you be getting the benefits from the top portion, but you'll also get additional benefits from the bottom portion here, which means you're going to get plus 10 accuracy, 1 additional shot, and an armor piercing attack. So that's quite significant here. So it's like, well, you need a bunch of shots and you need better accuracy. Get your Storm of Retribution going, assuming you have 4 stacks. Otherwise, you'll just be getting additional shots with a little more range stability, which isn't the end of the world, because the range stability does fall off by 15 per tile. But you can kind of counteract that by using your increased accuracy, increased crit chance, which these guys significantly benefit from since they have all those shots. Now, for 20 additional points here, you can convert them into a Heavy Flamer variant. And so what the Heavy variant is, they have the same amount of health, your core stats are the same, but your weapon obviously changes. So now, instead of the Heavy Bolter, each one of these ladies here has a Heavy Flamer, and each one does 8 attacks with a base damage of 3 to 4, and it has an armor piercing of 2. So again, this is one of the weaker Heavy Flamers in the game, with only 2 armor piercing instead of 3, but you also have 5 models shooting it, so that these guys can put out significant amounts of damage for you. And it does have an optimal range of 2, or optimal range of 1, but can go up to 2, so you can flame multiple guys. And just to reiterate how the flamers work, you know, if you had 6 enemies in front of you here, you can position 1 guy here, and you can flame through, and both these guys will get hit at 100% accuracy, so it'll likely kill both of those models here, assuming they're not highly armored medium tier, heavy tier infantry. However, if you're playing something like the Astra Militarum or the Tyranids, which are going to have just a bunch of weak swarms in front of you, you can position one of your flamers here, and if you flamed over to here, you'd be half hitting these two down here and a full hit here, so this guy would die, and then these two down here, if they have low HP, would die as well. Otherwise, they could be finished off by moving another one over here and flaming through, and so you can kill upwards of 6 units per turn if you end up giving these guys the rights of intercession here, which will give you an additional action point. So keep that into consideration. And so using those heavy flamers, then you still have your Bastion of Faith, which again just gives you the 5 critical hit chance. The Shield of Faith, Divine Inspiration are the same, but now your special ability changes. So now you get the Cleansing Flame, and so this will deplete all the stacks of your Bastion of Faith when you're making this flame attack. And so what happens is you'll get an additional shot with -2 graze chance per stack spent. But if you have 4 Bastions of Faith saved up, so again, the big thing is you want to make sure you click this and then click your special ability, assuming you don't want to move, because that will always make your special abilities better. So sometimes it's just a lot of clicking that can sometimes get you a little confused, so you gotta make sure you get your order of operations correct. But in addition to that additional shot and -2 graze chance, if you have all 4 saved up, you're getting an additional damage and you're getting an additional armor piercing, so now you're getting them up to 3. And then the final variant is the multi-Melta variant, and so this is again your anti-vehicle, anti-super elite unit. This is an anti-infantry, and this is kind of like a well-rounder unit is how you should be thinking about these. And so with the multi-Melty, each one of these ladies here has 1 shot. They do a base damage of 33 to 45, armor piercing of 8. They have an optimal range of 3, but they can shoot from 1 to 6. They have a base accuracy of 80 when they're at the optimal range, and the accuracy falls off 10 per tile. So again, you'd use your Bastion of Faith, which would be increasing your critical hit chances, and then you would use the Strike of Faith as the special ability for the multi-Melta to convert the Bastions of Faith into other bonuses. And so what this does is effectively increasing your range stability by 2 per stack spent. And then if you have 4 stacks, in addition to that top part, you'll now get a baseline +10 accuracy, +10 damage, +1 armor piercing. So that can significantly help you snipe out those vehicles and do a lot of damage to whatever you need to do to get your kills or to assassinate enemy heroes. So the way you'd want to buff these guys is you'd want to use your Sister Superior. You'd give somebody the Litany of Devotion to try to get their momentum up, giving them some bonus health. If you had a Bolter or a Flamer variant, then the Battle Sermon will be a significant buff to them. The Battle Sermon's really not very useful if you're using the multi-Melta variant, because just 1 damage there is not going to improve the damage output for the multi-Meltas. But for your Bolter, you got to remember your baseline damage is only 4 to 6, so increasing that to 5 to 7 is a pretty substantial increase. And likewise, your baseline damage with your Flamer is 3 to 4, so increasing that to 4 to 5 is well over a 30% increase in your damage. So that's how you can really get those things to pop off, especially once you start taking into consideration you can get additional shots with your Cleansing Flame and some increased armor piercing, so you can make these guys effectively be able to kill like a sanguinary guard or other elite tier infantry. Now they're probably not going to be great against things like Terminators, but anything short of all that armor will still be taking damage because of the sheer amount of shots that you're putting out on target with these guys. And then, like I said, the Heavy Bolter, these guys will be good as well because they have lots of shots here, 10 per model. And likewise, if you want to increase the effectiveness of your Heavy Bolter or your Retributors, you'd want to use your yellow tier 1 ability for a command point, which will increase your base accuracy by 20% and increase your critical hit chance. So that will also allow you to significantly start increasing your damage output with these Retributors here. And then, like I said, you can also give them double attacks if you give them the rights of intercession, and you can also give them some more bonus HP and minus 10% damage received by using the Medicus Ministorum. Now, when you're using your your Retributors here, I think if you're doing the heavy bolter variant or the multi-melt, I think using the tier 1 ability is probably the best. And then if you use the movement, then that'll make their movements up to 5. So then you'll automatically be getting 4 stacks and be able to move 1 square. So that's one way you can kind of cheese moving these guys just a tiny little bit to get them into optimal position and still get off your special ability with whatever weapon you have. And then just remember your red tier 3 command point ability will also increase your damage by 15% and your armor piercing. So then you can all of a sudden get your heavy flamer to be doing 4 armor piercing, and now all of a sudden they are going to be doing damage even to heavily armored units. Or you're going to get 4 armor piercing with your heavy bolter. Now these guys are going to be even better at doing damage against most units. Or the Melta will just completely be able to shred whatever it's attacking, because it should have 10 armor piercing, and I think that's the highest armor piercing you can get in the game, to be honest. So all those things can really make these guys start to pop off, so you just need to decide what you want. Now, in the past, the claim to fame to these Retributors is that they had crack grenades, but now that those grenades have been given to the Sisters of Battle, I tend to not use the Retributors very much, because yes, it's really nice to have this heavy flamer, but I find that unless I'm fighting like Space Marines, that all their units are going to have pretty significant armor, that the heavy flamer tends to just overkill most things. So I'd rather just save some costs and give the flamer to the Celestians here. The multi-melta here is definitely much better with these other abilities than the baseline for these guys, because this is 95, but then this is 150 to bring these guys out. So you have to decide, what are the point costs. And then again, your Battle Sisters here become so powerful with their blessed ammo and all these grenade variants. I tend to just prefer to go with 65 points per Battle Sister, because I can bring 2 Battle Sisters almost for the cost of 1 Retributor here. But if you did want to have a little more range and not have to wait on the blessed ammo and have more consistent damage output, these guys can definitely do good work for you. But you just have to decide what kind of build you're doing. But for the most part, I find that these guys are a little bit hard to use, because you have to really be taking into consideration how much you're moving them around, how much you're going to be using for your stacks, getting your crits up, converting over to your special abilities, having limited movement, whereas all these other units you can just kind of point and shoot effectively. So you just, like I said, you have to decide what kind of force selection you're going to build out here and how aggressive you want to be. So I'll play a match here with now each variant so we can see what they're like. I accidentally must have clicked this guy. So there we go. So now we got a heavy bolter, a heavy flamer, and a multi-melta here. So we'll see what they can do and see if I can show you what each of these empowered abilities will come out to as well, just to play around and see if this will change my mind, because I've played a match or 2 using them and I wasn't super impressed, but I think that's because I kept screwing up not using the Bastion and their special abilities right. Sometimes I just use the ability because I get them confused which one I was supposed to use because I was just in a hurry. So I'm going to try to focus on that more this time and see how they feel, because maybe that will definitely change my mind on my recommendations here. But let's see what we can do. And we'll set up an AI skirmish match. And we'll change it to Exterminatus. Get our Adepta Sororitas here. Use our Tester Army, 2,000 points. And where did I leave off? I think I'm onto the Tau. That's actually going to be a big issue because they're probably going to snipe down my Retributors. But we'll play around here and see what we can do. And then the other thing with the Retributors, just remember you're getting upwards of a 20% critical hit chance as you're building your momentum to the max. So that'll also help those guys that have lots of shots get even more crits going off as they're getting more momentum. And that's why I think it generally makes a lot of sense to use the Litany of Faith with the Sister Superior to help buff their damage a little bit. So just take those things into consideration as well. Now, usually I like to have those guys kind of hiding into a vehicle, but then that's going to also make it so they have less movement. So you just have to kind of, again, decide how you want this to work. So what I think I'll do is I'll load these two into the vehicle, and then we'll just have the last variant here with the heavy bolter stay outside the vehicle, because she'll be attacking more from range. Run these guys out to try to get to our maximum movements. Get that loaded up here. Oop, that's a sister of battle. We want the Retributor here.
We are the sisters of battle.
Now what you can do is if you're using this Zealous Frenzy, you can get that to come up here, and you can move those guys over. And if they do a little bit of damage to yourself, you'll start to gain a little bit of momentum, and then you can heal, and that way you can start getting some increased momentum gains and command points for your units and your sister superior. So just take that into consideration as well, because as your units take damage, they will start to generate a little bit of momentum, and getting that little bit of momentum will let you start to get a little bit of a build up on your command points for your other abilities, which can be quite important.
Yes.
So these are the two that are injured, so we'll do one of our heals here. Now we just generated 16 momentum.
For Catherine, for eternity.
And I guess I'll bring you up to here, bring you to here. And now you'll heal these guys up. And that'll get you another 16 momentum. And now you can see I've already got, you know, a little bit of, it's not a ton, but every little bit helps here. You can effectively keep doing that every turn to get these guys into position. You just want to make sure you don't leave them in a position where they're then injured as you're trying to get them into combat.
By his will.
And make sure they're all turned to face the correct direction here.
Come near me, and the Emperor will smite you.
So we got the burst cannon variant here. Got some probes moving out for us. Alright, just got her a stack. Alright. Where are the rest of the guys here? So he's doing a heavy probe build, it looks like. They're going to lose some models here. Oop, that's a problem. Well, missile in me.
Putrid is the sinner that comes this way.
Pathfinders, Fire Warrior, Strike Team. Oh, they're just going to kill our guys here, I think.
Us at them.
Alright, well, let's start buffing our guys here, and we're going to have to heal you here.
Heavy weapons ready.
You've got a 50% chance to hit, so that's not great. But at that 50%, you're going to be doing 100 to 150 minus 50%, so yeah, not a huge amount here. We're gonna have to spend at least 1 point to try to keep you alive. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll pop a little smoke right here to try to keep you guys all safe, like so. And what do I want to do? I'd like to have you be available to buff these guys. So I guess let's just get that going. So let's get them some more health. So now each model is having 62 health.
The road of righteousness is soaked in the blood of the unworthy.
And we'll move you up to here to try to trigger some Overwatch. Since he's practically dead.
I am his iron will.
And for our canoness here, part of me wants to have her just attack the crisis suits, but I think we'll just focus you over this way. What's over here? Pathfinders. Now they have the pulse carbine. Oh, you have 100% accuracy and you still missed? Gosh, that is just frustrating. Alright, now let's get you over here. And we'll pull you back. I'll move you up to here. And we'll get you over to here. And then we'll unload the multi-melt over this way. And we'll bring our flamers up to here. And then you can flame through these guys and easily kill them. Barely get any momentum though. And I can't move you, so we'll just shoot you into here. And definitely overkill those guys.
For eternity. Yes.
Now I could move you up to here, which I think I'm going to actually do. So we'll do this. Bring you here.
The Emperor's light burns bright.
Guess
you can just shoot there.
Heavy weapons ready.
Your command?
And bring you up to here,
Yes.
bring you... Oop, I was gonna actually buff everybody here with an extra attack, but that doesn't actually make a lot of sense. So maybe what I'll do instead is just bring you over to here, and we'll see what kind of damage you can put out. 120, not terrible.
Will be done.
So pretty much you are just going to start getting your Bastion of Faith to build this up. Really? I am quite disappointed in that. Because I'm going to have to waste that kill here for you.
What is your command?
I guess we'll just convert you to Bastion of Faith like that. And then what this means, that guy has a flamer, doesn't he? Is I'm going to have to just run these guys over here. To try to hold down these crisis suits. And hopefully cause them to aggro into attacking the Arcoflagellants here and not my Retributors.
In righteous battle, liberation. In death, vindication. We carry
Now,
divine
shoot into those guys.
by his will.
Yeah, see, I'm setting them up for a nice flame attack here.
We follow his light. We are the sisters of battle.
Now let's just run you guys through, I guess.
In
Try to
righteous
block
battle,
things up a little bit.
liberation. In death, vindication.
Well, let's see what happens
Never
here.
walk in the Emperor's light.
Stupid ethereal.
They test my resolve. They test my resolve.
Actually, I might kill said ethereal with their movement like this. Oh, almost.
Will be your undoing.
Oh, they're coming. Oh, I thought they were going to shoot down the cannon this year. Alright, there's the flamer. We baited that, so that's good. This is what I was trying not to have happen.
We're taking fire.
Yeah. Dropping my poor little sisters here. Sisters of battle. I don't know who he just marker lighted. Oh, those guys gotta go. So he must have stealthed units over here that I'm just not seeing.
I thought I saw something.
Yeah, the AI really hates arcoflagellants for some reason. Actually, she's got to be pretty close to surging with all these attacks coming in towards her. Well, let's run you around the back here. Start focusing him down.
My blades will mete out his might.
Like so. And then, if I use this, that should get you to be able to surge. And you can start focusing on these guys to weaken them down. Perfect. And now, where are all my Retributors? I have you, and I have you. So that's all good. Which kind of weapon do you have? You have a pulse carbine. You've got the fusion blaster. Alright, which one's the multi-melta? You are, right? Yes. So, let's move you over to here. Oh, he's getting a bunch of evasion right now is what's going on. How is my... Yeah, see, I got a ton of command points. So let's increase our accuracy. And now what we learned last time is if we put this on...
Understood.
our hospital, it increases the range and effectiveness of this ability. So we'll do this. And now
Ready.
the question is I think this is gonna just convert or make me lose all of my stacks. So let's do this as well.
With haste.
So I think what the optimal way of doing this would be... See, now we're up to 70%. This is 90%. Although we're also not shooting at the optimal range, which is probably not helping. You're up to 43 momentum, but then that's also because you have 30 of that going to these guys. So let's do... Bastion of Faith. I've got 4.
In every shadow I find heresy.
Let's shoot into here. And I don't think it makes sense to use our overcharged ability because I think that's going to just overkill. So now he's dead. I've got our flamer here. I kind of want to use our bastion here. And I guess I could see how much damage he's going to do, which I don't think is going to be very much.
Your command?
But I could weaken down these guys with some crack grenades, I guess.
By his will.
Who needs my aid?
Now let's get the heal going here.
We are his shield, indomitable.
Can bring you up to here. We can buff these guys all up with a little bit of damage reduction.
What is your command?
And I'll move you up to here to start crack grenading these guys down.
Heavy weapons ready.
And I guess let's just try your heavy flamer attack to see how much you're gonna do. So that's gonna do 120 to 180 damage, it looks like. So let's see if that's true. Let's flame through. Yeah. So yeah, they have significant, the heavy flamer has significant damage output when you're fully buffed up. So that's interesting. Okay. And then for you, got a 76% chance to hit. If I bring you up to here, you're up to 75. That's actually kind of funny that your accuracy went down. Let's have you shoot into here.
Submit now. Judgment.
So like as you can see, if once you start buffing them all the way, they do have substantial damage output.
Heavy weapons
But it really does require quite a bit to get them into that situation.
In righteous battle, liberation. In death,
Now,
vindication.
the next issue we're going to have is to try to kill these breachers.
Target engaged.
So let's try to bring you out to here,
Understood.
and we'll try to bait them to hopefully
Who tests my conviction?
attack our sisters of battle
Yes?
and not our Retributors as we're trying to get them
We carry divine vengeance.
momentum. Because I don't really want them eating flame attacks here. Now she is in some cover, but I think we're gonna have to do this to try to bait out some attacks. We'll move you over to here, and you can just shoot down the breacher, because even with one model, he still does pretty decent damage.
In righteous battle, liberation. In death,
And what I'll do is I'll just move you over here in case they do get flame. That way you're giving them some bonus health. Since we are trying to see what their empowered ability will go up to.
I am the Imperium's shield. Destroy them and move swiftly onwards.
Alright, we'll try to lock these guys down.
My faith
Run you
is
around the
strong.
back here to start working on the
Hatred for the sake
fire warriors here. And I guess let's just convert you to the last one to finish these guys off. So that'll help. Now you're kind of just chilling on the back here.
Gracious heart.
Transport awaiting command. The Emperor's light burns bright.
Let's see. I guess if I move you to here, maybe that'll aggro him to flame through these guys instead. But let's see what happens.
We will ensure. We're taking fire.
Perfect. Yep, everybody just come over here and attack the sisters. That's exactly what I want. That's what they're here for. So we can get that sweet momentum up. Photon grenade. Was not expecting that. Why did these guys not have a zone of control? I don't understand why that doesn't work sometimes.
Kill you.
Alright, well,
Heavy weapons.
we've got you guys over here. I will move you up to here, and we can start getting some Bastions of Face stacks. And then I'm going to bring you up to here, and you are going to increase the damage of all my units, like so. And now you can double flame these guys like so.
Purge these abominations.
And now you're surging. So if we empower your Bastion, it doesn't do anything. So effectively it bugs out empowering the Bastion of Faith. So just make sure you don't click that, because sometimes it'll actually use up your stacks if you do that. And if you empower your Cleansing Flames, if you use the non-4 stack, it'll get your Grace chance to -4 instead of -2. And then if you end up having all 4 stacks, then it's going to increase your armor piercing by 2. And so now these guys would be an armor piercing of 4, and they would come up to an armor piercing of 5. So then if you had that stacked up with full Bastion support, these guys effectively are going to start doing damage to heavy tier infantry with an armor piercing of 5. These guys almost become anti-vehicles. So these guys should be able to probably kill Terminators and everything like that. So actually these heavy flamers fully buffed out are exceptionally dangerous. So that's very interesting. Alright. So that's them.
Shield indomitable.
And then we've got these guys over here, which are the multi-Meltas. Now what I'm worried about here is them not being able to get enough kills, because I think they're going to focus fire. But we can try it. So we'll get that going. You've got a 100% chance to do damage like that. And if we do this, I think you're still going to focus fire down. Well, let's try it. Let's just have you shoot. But I think you're going to focus. Well, you almost killed them all. So that's not terrible, actually. My poor Retributors are going to have to... Well, yeah, we probably do need to take out that Flamer. So the question is who's going to be the best target for that?
Heavy weapons ready.
I kind of want to get my Sister Superiors up and running with as much momentum as possible. That way they can... Actually, what I could probably do is just do this. And now you can shoot for another round. Drop those guys down. That gets you a little more experience. And I do need to drop these breachers. So maybe what I'll do with our sisters here is we'll just throw some crack grenades around to try to weaken up other units.
Throwing grenade!
Alright, we'll pull you back.
Sisters of battle.
You can grenade here. And then you can just come up here and pop some smoke.
The road of righteousness is soaked in the blood of the unworthy.
Then we'll just start working your way up here to start getting kills. Like so. Do something like that, and that should get you pretty close to being able to come over here.
Heavy weapons
And
ready.
now our... Oh! I didn't know you were going to get the kills there. Let's keep you over to
What
here.
is your command?
Now you can come up here, because we need to drop those breacher squads. So let's get that going. So, not totally sold on these heavy bolters. The multi-meltas are definitely good at killing guys. Let's see here. I think the big thing is we're just going to pull you back to here.
Show no mercy.
We can have you just shoot. Like so.
Your command?
And then if they kill guys, this should get momentum to all of our other units. I guess let's just get the kill here. And then if they do increase our damage output,
With haste.
we seem to really like to attack the sisters here, so we'll do something like that. And then these guys are way over here, and they're breachers, so that was probably a mistake. Okay, well, hopefully they won't do 150 damage. There is a chance that they might, though. Maybe if I bring some weak little battle sisters that are almost dead over here,
By his will.
that'll encourage them to attack
Transport away
there
from
instead. Bring you around the back like so. Who hasn't attacked yet?
I am his iron will.
My little hospitaler here still has some shots. Alright, good. Getting that momentum up. Oh, they're gonna kill my superior.
You will not best me.
Oh, maybe not.
my shield.
Come on, kill him. I want you to kill him to get that momentum up here. Alright, so what do we got? You're up to 80. You're up to here.
The road of righteousness is soaked in the blood of the unworthy.
Okay, so... Oh, you're one away. That is unfortunate.
What is your command?
Well, let's attack here. Just kill this guy. And then what I'm going to do is I'll run you over here. And then I can give you this, and now you should be able to surge.
Heavy weapons
And so if we empower, again, Bastion of Faith will bug out if you try to do that. But if you do empower the Strike of Faith, that'll get you 3 range stability. And then if you have 4 stacks, it'll increase your accuracy by 15, your armor piercing of 2. Well, I guess technically you can get up to 11 armor piercing then with this weapon, if that's the case, between your other buffs. So yeah, these guys should do like crazy good damage against vehicles or heroes if you're assassinating guys like that. It's just it requires a lot of setup. Now, with you, the next question is, maybe you'll just kill yourself? Nope. Alright, let's pull you back to here. And then what I want to know is if I sacrifice this guy, will I trigger her passive to give experience to my other guys? Yes, it still activates. So if you have something like that, you can give everybody else momentum.
Heavy weapons ready.
That's interesting.
Who tests my conviction?
Okay, so we've got you here now.
In righteous battle, liberation. In death, vindication.
So
What is your command?
you're up to 100% chance to shoot there. That's 3 per. So now you're up to 82.
Yes.
Do this. Get you here. So now you're just short. You're up to 95.
Heavy weapons ready.
Yeah, because I gave away my extra attack, didn't I?
Who needs my aid?
Well, you can heal the Canoness, I guess. And we'll pull you
Yes.
back. And then for you, we'll run you over here, because you'll be able to buff our other guys. So let's just move you back and forth here, because I want to see what this heavy bolter is going to have for possibilities. And then we're just going to have everybody else face the other direction here. Might as well just kill these guys.
Dominations.
Alright, let's do that.
Near me, and the Emperor
Now,
will smite.
oop. We're actually supposed to get some kills here.
For Catherine.
That
For
breacher squad didn't move. Alright, and then for you, that'll only be 2. Let's just get this up to here.
What is your
Now,
command?
for you, if we empowered your Bullet Storm, it would increase your range stability by 4, increases your accuracy by 12, and your armor piercing by 2. So yeah, not crazy good. It's not bad, it's just not amazing. So we'll do that. We'll empower. You can just shoot into these guys. I was gonna say, you should pretty easily get the kill. Alright, now let's find that breacher squad over here.
Catherine's footsteps.
There he is.
Purge the unclean.
Seek cover!
I am the instrument of his divine will.
Naturally, you attack the guy that's not
Rhino ready.
almost dead.
Seek cover!
Alright, so interesting thought process here. So the heavy flamers become absolutely amazing when they are fully leveled, and they should be pretty easy to feed experience to get that momentum going. So you probably want to try to save that ability until you're able to empower it, and then if you do and you have other buffs going, then you're going to make them able to kill almost anything. So it's going to be similar to the shoot, what are those guys called? They have the Flamestorm gauntlets for the aggressors, I think is what they're called. If you get those guys to surge with their flame gauntlets and empower that, they do crazy amounts of damage, but they only have a range of 1. Whereas with this heavy flamer, you'll be able to do crazy amounts of damage at a range of 2. So definitely take that into consideration, because I think that's going to kind of be a sleeper unit. And so a lot of your opponents, especially if they're not bringing real low tier infantry, they may be like, oh, that flamer's not going to do much damage to me. We'll ignore him and go for other more powerful units to kill him. Whereas if you get it empowered and use all those abilities, then you're getting 5 armor piercing with the heavy flamer, and that's as much as some decent anti-vehicle weapons. You're getting pretty close to that. Once you start to get over 6, that's pretty significant abilities to get that damage out. And as you can see, they were able to wipe out the stealth suits, and that's even with them having a 10% damage reduction with the shield drones that they had on. So as you can see, you can get some really crazy damage output there. Now, the multi-meltas, again, they can do very good damage output as well, especially against vehicles or single entities. But if you're starting to attack units that have multiple units per squad, they're going to tend to overkill a lot of units, so that kind of limits the multi-melta's effectiveness. And then the heavy bolter variant, I mean, yeah, they do pretty decent damage output pretty consistently, but I think I'd rather have flamers. Like the penitent engines are about the same amount of cost, and then I have a heavy flamer and I have a powerful melee attack with force splash. So I just don't foresee myself really using a lot of the heavy bolter variants. I guess the multi-meltas would be really good against, say, Astra Militarum, where they're going to be bringing a big tank army. But my fear is that they're just going to immediately shoot down that Retributor. And that's going to be, 140 points or whatever it is to bring the multi-melta. Whereas I could bring 2 Sisters of Battle, make them have to spend more attacks to get the kill, and I'll have crack grenades to be able to throw every 2 turns. And that will make them have to waste additional attacks to kill the Sisters of Battle. So with the Sisters of Battle having access to so much different utility weapons, I just don't foresee myself really using a lot of the Retributors here. But the heavy flamer variant definitely was a big surprise with just how much they would be buffed up with all those stacks. So definitely would take them into consideration, less so when I'm using the other variants. But let me know what you guys think about that. I haven't totally made up my mind with this, but it took a lot of spoon feeding them experience, which was what was kind of frustrating me, to get them up and running to be able to surge. I mean, even against AI, which is almost brain dead in this game, took almost an hour for me to get this episode done. Now, granted, a bunch of that was me talking at the start of it, but I'm not totally sold. So thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe. It encourages me to post more content for you. Have a great day.